Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillah. Today we are continuing on our class, the concise presentation of the fiqh. Today we're starting a new chapter, which is wills and inheritance. It is episode 89 of the class, and obviously part one of this new topic. Today is the 18th of September 2024, and it is the night of the 17th of Rabee Al-Awwal 1446. For those of us in the book, it is chapter 11, bequests, and it is page 557.
جزاك الله خير. بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. You said the episode number 89. The will. جزاك الله. The will. If we have time, we'll go to the inheritance, but the will is very important. Maybe we would not have time. I would have liked to have a TV linked to my laptop, but not at the moment because our brother Thaqib is not well. We ask Allah Subhanahu to give him the cure ASAP, inshallah. So we'll go to the will and we will read, but we have lots of notes to add because here this is just short. You could say chapter here, as the author had made it concise, as he said. We need to add, and I've got here a will which is in Arabic. And that is the cream of crop of my own research. I made the will to anybody to fill it. I will give it to the ones who come to the class. For the ones who don't come to the class, they have to come to the class. Fine. Go ahead, inshallah. Start.
Chapter 11, bequests. The Arabic word for bequests come from a term implying connecting. The one who makes a bequest connects what is in his life with what is after his death. As a legal term, it refers to a person bestowing upon another an item, credit, or use of something to another as a gift after his death.
طيب. So the wasiyah is basically is a gift. A person who's going to give it to another person after his death, whether it's an item, he says, or whether it is a debt he wants to make sure that it's going to be settled, or a debt that hasn't been settled from somebody else. I mean, he credited somebody and he wants the money back. So put that will as well. Or a manfa. Manfa here is a benefit. Like, for example, I want to put some of my money for such and such masjid after my death. I want to put such and such house for the sake of charity, such and such like this. And we could add as well to the will as well, which is instructions and recommendations. Because the Prophet ﷺ, when he had made the farewell, he did not give any sort of gift, or it was a credit or a debt or something that he had to say that this is after my death. He had given instructions, which is hadith Al-Irbad bin Sariya radiyallahu anhu, when he said that the Prophet ﷺ وعظنا موعظة بليغة. وعظنا رسول الله موعظة بليغة. Prophet ﷺ, he had given us an admonishing which was so deep into the heart, eloquent and very strong. حتى وجلت منها القلوب وذرفت منها الدموع. To the extent that the heart were shaken because of this, the impact, the impound of this advice, and also the eyes were shedding tears. حتى قال قائل, until one person was listening, كأنها موعظة مودع. It looks like messenger of Allah. This is like a farewell advice. He said it looked like it's a farewell advice. Then he said the following word, فأوصنا. Give us your will. What is the will? What do you recommend for us? This is the will we're talking about. Here the Prophet gave them a will, which has nothing to do with, by the way, I'll leave you such and such money and such, or please take some of my money and blah, 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 or my wife do that, this. It was to do with the ummah. عليكم بتقوى الله والسمع والطاعة. You have to be making sure that you hold on to the taqwa of Allah, gain the taqwa of Allah, and to hear and obey to those people who are in leadership to you. So it's given us admonishing. Taqwa Allah on its own is enough. But he had emphasized that point where the Prophet of Allah, because he speaks from divine as well, Allah told him that this is an important phrase here to add, because to hear and obey to the leaders is part of the taqwa of Allah. Okay, and it is not the most important issue, because the most important issue is tawheed. But taqwa Allah includes the tawheed, includes the listening to the leaders, includes all of that. So why did he emphasize that thing? Because this is the key where Prophet is saying that if you know this, then you will be upon prevailing, you will be good. This is the one that's going to make chaos in this ummah, which is not listening to the leaders, not listening to the ones who are in leadership. As long as they are Muslim, they are tyrant, they are so bad, can't have worse than Al-Hajjaj. And you can't have worse Khalifas, like for example, than Al-Ma'mun at that time, when he tested the people on the Khalq al-Quran to say something which is kufr, because he believes in it. Nobody from the scholars, they said he's a kafir. Nobody from the scholars, they said, let's just make a coup against him and put him down. Nobody said that. On the contrary, the scholars like Imam Ahmad and the others were asking Allah Azza wa Jal to give him the right understanding, the correct aqeedah, the taqwa of Allah. Because if you just make an uprising and coups and all of this is what happened. Look at the Muslim world at this time. Every country had a chaos or a coup or something like this. Or is it gone forward or downwards? Name me any country. It would come downward. It split more. That's why the Prophet had pointed this. So here, the Prophet Allah gave a will, which is to do with instructions. So it's important for the person, even if he's hasn't got money or hasn't got debt, hasn't got a house, let's say he's a poor person, but he's got children. He wants to make sure that they are upon the right path. Or he hasn't got children, got no wife. He wants to be buried according to the Sunnah, because he knows that if he dies, his Brainwave family, let's say, they're going to make those sort of rituals which are not from the Sunnah, which are bid'ah, to the extent they are kufr. So he would state in his will that I don't want to be buried in that way. So he must do that will, because he knows that if he doesn't do that will, then those people will do it according to what they believe is correct. But if you did the will, even those people had overwhelmed those ones who were upon the Sunnah and they made some bid'ah, you are exempted as a person who died, because you set yourself free. I've done my part. I told them not to do this. They've done it while I'm not alive. They could do whatever they like because I'm dead. But I said, I don't want to be this. I don't want to have this khatam on myself. I don't have, okay, all of these things. So if you know your family, they're not going to be burying you according to the Sunnah, especially the reverts, whom their family are disbelievers. So they don't put their will, and actually not just a will normal, they have maybe to sign it by solicitor, then I want to be buried in Islamic cemetery. I want to be having to be washed and to be taken to the masjid, and to even, I don't want to be taken to the synagogue or to be taken to the church. And he could, make that sort of official. It's important upon him. It's more important than the money. More important than the money. So the will, we're going to talk about it now in terms of what is the rule of it. Is it compulsory? Is it recommended? Let's just see. Further.
Its ruling to make a bequest is obligatory upon the one who has wealth that he wishes to bequest.
Right. Well, that's definitely that he has money and he wants to say that after my death, A, take such and such, B, take such and such, C, take such and such. Okay, then he must have a will. Or he has some debt to be settled. He's, in debt. So he said, such and such person, I owe him such and such money. So he puts in that will so that the people who are living behind him they could give the money to those people. Also, on top of that, it becomes compulsory. What we said before, if there is something that's going to happen that will be haram or a bid'ah after your death, you need to verify, you need to clarify to say to them, I've got nothing to do with this. Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّ الْمَيِّتَ لَيُعَذَّبُ بِبُكَاءِ الْحَيِّ. Sahih Bukhari. Verily, the person who is dead is to be punished because of the weeping, the wailing of the person who's alive. إِنَّ الْمَيِّتَ لَيُعَذَّبُ بِبُكَاءِ الْحَيِّ. Scholars, they said that this is a person whom he knows that his family behind after him, they're going to do something which is haram, and he did not set himself free from that. I want to be, this is how I'm going to be buried. This is the way I'm going to be prayed upon. This is the way I want to be as well, having the funeral procession. And then these people did something wrong, then he's exempted. But if he didn't do that, then he will have some portion of the haram. Because Allah Azza wa Jal, He said, وَلَا تَزِرُ وَازِرَةُ وِزْرَ أُخْرَى. There's no soul will incur the burden of the sin of the other soul. You did something wrong, Zubair, nothing to do with me. Yes, but if I know that my Zubair is my son and he's going to do something bad after my death, and I don't really set myself free from that, I'm going to have some sort of portion from that sin. So it becomes compulsory in those following cases. You got something to give to somebody else, so you need to say that X and Y, he will take such and such money. You have a debt, you need to settle it, it becomes compulsory. You have as well instructions to be given to the people regarding yourself after your death. It becomes, which is necessary, it becomes compulsory. Allah He said, كتب عليكم إذا حضر أحدكم الموت إن ترك خيرا الوصية للوالدين والأقربين بالمعروف حقا على المتقين. Translation, please.
It is prescribed for you when death approaches any of you, if he leaves wealth, that he make a bequest to parents and next of kin, according to reasonable manners. This is a duty upon the pious.
Right. So this, according to Shaykh Al-Albani says, according to this ayah, wasiyah is compulsory. Also, hadith.
Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhu narrated the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "It is not right for a Muslim who wishes to bequest something to spend 2 nights, except that he has his written bequest with him."
Right. So here the Prophet, according to Abdullah ibn Umar, he said, any Muslim person who has something to be, bequest as a will, then he should not sleep more than 2 nights, except that his will and his bequest is being written and ready with him. Abdullah ibn Umar, going to add here something which is important. Abdullah ibn Umar, he said, ما مرت علي ليلة. Not even 2 nights had passed upon me. منذ سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول ما قال. Since I heard the Prophet saying what he had said, except that my will, my bequest is already ready and underneath my head. So the companions, upon hearing the instruction from the Prophet of Allah, they don't put it in the freezer. Straight away they implement it. Nobody said, so as soon as I heard this, not as 2 nights have been passed, except that my will is ready. You have to ask yourself, okay, is the will compulsory upon you? Because if it's compulsory, you are sinned, you haven't done it. I'm not going to ask each person, have you made the will or not? But you know yourself. You know yourself. So it's a will is important. And you write it and you make sure that everybody knows where's your will. Not everybody knows the will, like your wife and children. Where's your will? It could be on your laptop, for example, put. That's my will in my laptop here. So you put it there so everybody can read what you want. It's important, ya ikhwani. So it is compulsory in those cases. And the other cases, if you don't have a debt, if you don't have something to bequest, if you don't have anything that you need to instruct your family, mashallah, upon the sunnah and all of that, then it is recommended. It's not compulsory. But it's compulsory in the cases that I've said. Write your will. You don't know when you're going to die. Walk just others. It's wrong. Just that door. You die straight away. So your will is to be ready. So those adults, they should really be careful for this regarding this issue. Now, we come to the how much you could bequest. Tfadal.
The amount of wealth recommended for a bequest. Sa'ad ibn Abi Waqqas said, the Prophet ﷺ came to visit me while I was in Mecca, and he disliked for one to die in the land from which one had emigrated. He said, "May Allah have mercy on Ibn Afra, who had died."
Afra.
That's an Afra.
Yeah, Afra.
Okay. Who had died in the land.
Afra, yeah.
Who had died in the land from which he had emigrated. I said, "O Messenger of Allah, shall I bequest all of my wealth?" He said, "No." I said, "Half?" He said, "No." Then I said, "A third?" He replied, "1/3 is permissible, but even 1/3 is a lot. For you to leave your heirs wealthy is better than to leave them dependent on what the people give them via begging. Whatever you spend properly will be an act of charity, even the morsel of food that you raise to your wife's mouth. Perhaps Allah may lengthen your life so that some people may benefit from you, while others will be harmed due to you." At that time, Sa'ad had only 1 daughter.
Right. Sa'ad ibn Waqqas, he had money. and he wanted to have a bequest. And to write this bequest, writing who's going to take and who and how much. So Prophet ﷺ passed by him while he was ill, and he was in Mecca. Sa'ad ibn Waqqas was in Mecca, and the Prophet of Allah was residing in Medina. And he says that, and he doesn't like to die in the land which he had migrated from. He doesn't want to die in Mecca. He wants to die where? In Medina. So he said, Yarhamullah ibn Afra. May Allah have mercy upon the son of Ibn Afra, quoting him by his mother. I said, Messenger of Allah, shall I make a will with all my money? Okay, all my money, it looks like maybe his daughter is satisfied. I mean, she's financially secured. So he wants to give all his money. He said, no. Ash-shatr, Messenger of Allah, half, 50%. He said, no. Third, 33.333%, third. He said, okay, third, but third is too much. For verily, if you to leave your heirs, the ones who stay behind, are well off. That means they are not to ask other people, better than to leave them asking other people. So a person who's got, for example, 300 pounds. What's the third of 300 pounds? 100. So he's got only 300 pounds. That's what he left. And he's got children. And they're not really well off. So is it the correct opinion to give 100 pounds? He's leaving them 200 pounds. I don't think the children would be happy. You should not bequest anything. You should leave the 300 pounds, all of them, to the children. Somebody's got 1,000 pounds he left. 900, you say. Third of the 900. What's the third? 300. 300. So 300 out of the 900 is a lot. You're leaving your children with only 600 and they'll need. Don't give, even give 10 pounds in bequest. But once you give, let's say 100,000, okay, so you take a third, let's say 90,000. Third is 30,000. Okay, still a lot, but still you left, quite considerable amount of money left. Best not to give the third unless you have a lot of money and your heirs are not in need, because for verily your heirs to be left with money that could really run themselves, better than leaving them to ask other people, please give me, please give me. طيب إخواني. Now we understand the amount, which is the maximum. And by the way, we have more governing laws to this. We're going to come to it, inshallah, when we add. Fadal.
There is no bequests for the predetermined heirs. Abu Umama al-Bahili said that he heard the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam say during his speech of the farewell pilgrimage, verily Allah has given each his due rights. Thus there is no bequest for the predetermined heir.
What is that predetermined heir? Let's say mother, father, son, daughter, wife, husband. Those are people whom predetermined heir by the Almighty. They've got their own shares. They will inherit by the laws of Allah, al-fara'id. So it's called al-fara'id, faridah min Allah. So those ones, you cannot make a bequest to them. Okay? So it's a condition that the one you make a bequest to him is one which is not within the laws of inheritance. If he is not from the laws of inheritance, then you are allowed to give him. And we have more governing laws as we're going to speak about them, inshallah, very soon. So let's say you have a son, and you have a wife, and you have a mother and a father, and you have a son of a son, grandson. Whom amongst those ones I could make a bequest? Put your finger up if you know. I've got a wife, I've got a father and a mother, and I've got a son and a grandson. Who amongst those I may, you could say none, you could say one, you could say son, father, grandson. Correct. The only one I could make a will to is the grandson. But listen, The grandson, I could make a will for him as long as he doesn't become an heir. How? Let's say that you are the father and you were and you were in an accident with your son. So you both of you and your son were in a car. Accident took place. What happened is that your son died first, and then you died after, the father. You made a will already to the son of the son. Is this will valid? No. Why is not valid? Because the son of the son became now what? An heir. Once the father, which is the son, had gone, then the son of the son will take over by the laws of Allah, inheritance law. Do you understand what I said, which I'll repeat? Okay. I repeat so you can really understand. Person who's got a wife, father and a mother, and a son of a son. He cannot bequest to any except for the son of the son, because the wife, father, and the mother, and the son, they all take their shares by laws of Allah. Not a bequest by yourself. You can't give him a car extra or something like that. You're not allowed. Now, if I made a bequest to the son of the son, this, as long as he's not an heir, but let's say I made the bequest when I was healthy, then I was driving with my son in a car. We had an accident. Me and him smashed into a car. My son died first. Then the father, which is me, I died 5 minutes after. Doesn't matter. I just died after. When I died after, now my inheritance is going to go to my wife, it's going to go to my as well father and my mother, and whom? Son of the son, because the son is not there. So the son of the son will become an heir by the laws of Allah. So that will that you have made will be void. Has that understood, Ikhwani? Shall I repeat for the third time? You have to shake your head. Did you understand? Yeah. Jazakallah. Because you don't shake your head, I'm very worried. Somebody was from India, I remember. And every time I say something, he says to me, oh my God, isn't he? He said, like, I said, brother, you didn't understand? He said, no, I'm enjoying it. It's correct, mashallah. I said, oh, this is the way for yes. Because for us, yes is like this. And actually, it's in his language, this one is not yes. This is yes. SubhanAllah. So, we understand now the yes probably differs from one place to another. Coming back. So, let's go to the other direction, which is the opposite. Okay. A person who made a will which is not allowed, to whom he made it to, let's say, his brother, and his brother is one of the heirs. So he made a will, okay, and his brother, he is an heir, okay. Now he made it. Remember, the brother can be blocked by the father, and the brother can be blocked by the son. Okay, so the son or the father will block what? The brother straight away. So there is no son for this person, and there is no father for this person. He has only a wife. Has what? Only a wife. A wife does not prevent the brother to inherit. So he made a will to the brother, even though by the laws of Allah, the brother can take a share. So he made a will which is not allowed because he's an heir. So that will is void. But what happened is that before he died, he got his wife pregnant. When she got her pregnant, he died, and the child who came is a male child. The male child now will completely prevent the brother. So the will becomes now what? Valid. It's the opposite way now. Do you understand what I just said? Because the brother becomes blocked by the son, so the will is now, the bequest is valid. Even though at the beginning he written it, haram, it's not supposed to write it. But can I write it with the agreement of the heirs? Yes, you can. So let's say my scenario, wife, father and a mother, and a son and a son of a son. And I said, and let's say I have two sons now. I have two sons. And the son of the son is not going to inherit, correct? Right. So I am going to say to the heirs, after my death, I'm going to grant my wife a bequest, such and such man, after my death, which is your mother. Would you agree? They said, agree. Right. So I wrote, so on top of her heir inheritance, she's going to get inherit, I'm going to give her another bequest after my death. I've written that with their approval of theirs. I'm not sinned because they approved it. Listen to me now. If I died, that will not be executed except by the approval of the heirs. And the approval is not the one done before the testator's death, afterwards. Because Islam here wants to protect the ones who are the heirs. They could have said yes, because under the pressure, they can't do nothing because it's the money of the father. So you want to give to the wife, or it could be maybe the co-wife. It's not the wife. It's not the co-mother of this. It's not the. And they said yes to their father because under the pressure. When he dies, the approval has to be after his death. So if the heirs said, even one of them said, no, I'm not going to give my share. I want my full share. I'm not going to make this will or bequest to be valid. So this disapproval take place, and the will not be executed. If it's one of the heirs he had said, then his share will be kept for him, and the other ones who had donated, it will be given accordingly. Do you understand what I said? So the evaluation of the approval of such a bequest is after the death of the testator, the person who is bequesting. It's not before. Okay, right. So now we know he cannot give more than a third. Question, can he give more than a third by the approval of the testators? By the heirs? Yes or no? Yes. Just like he had given to somebody who was a direct heir. So by the approval, he could give half. And let's say the children said, okay, father, give half. And they were well off. Should give half. But when he died, one of them was bankrupt. And he was in need of money. I know, I'm not going to approve this. Even he approved it at the beginning, and even he signed it. But Islam, his approval will not be taken into consideration until he dies. After his death, then he would say, okay, I'm going ahead with my approval, which I've done before. Or he would say, no, I'm not going to go ahead with my approval. Islam protects, ya ikhwani, the money of those heirs, the ones who are going to inherit. But alhamdulillah, you understood that. Now coming back to what to be written at the beginning of a bequest. Further.
What should be written at the beginning of the bequest? Anas said, they used to write the following at the beginning of their bequests. In the name of Allah, the most compassionate and most merciful. This is the bequest of so-and-so who bears witness that there is none worthy of worship except Allah, alone without any partners, and that Muhammad is his servant and messenger. He also bears witness that the hour is coming without any doubt, and that Allah shall resurrect those in the graves. I advise those whom I have left behind for my family to fear Allah and make matters proper between them. I also advise them to obey Allah and His Messenger if they are truly believers. I advise them with what Prophet Ibrahim ﷺ advised his two sons, and Yaqub, O my sons, Allah has chosen for you the religion, and therefore do not die except as Muslims.
Correct. I've got here in front of me, this is the cream of crop of years of a will of any person can take it and just put his name and put whatever money he wants to put there, and to write his, his things to do with the money, to do with the houses and everything. And at the back of it, the signature of his, the signature of witness one and witness number two. All of that in 2 pages with two sides, each page is 2 sides. Okay, but it's in Arabic. Now I haven't tried. I've tried once to translate it. It did not give me the right translation. Just put it there, Google Translate, and didn't really make. Maybe it's a long time ago. So I would like somebody to make an effort here to translate this. I'll give the ones who understand Arabic. Understand Arabic here? تفضل. Who understand Arabic? تفهم Arabic? No, a little bit. Okay. Well, I'm going to give it a course to Zubair, because he is a reciter. He has to have one, and one to the doctor. Okay. خذ. You're going to translate it. Okay. Right. So Asim is going to translate that piece of paper. I was going to get help from your translation, but let me just start with it. First of all, it starts with khutbat al-hajj. Inna alhamdulillah, all praise to Allah, we praise Him, seek His aid, and ask His forgiveness. We seek refuge in Allah from the evil of ourselves and from the evil actions. Whomsoever Allah guides and misguides, and whomsoever Allah misguides and guide. I bear witness that there is none worthy of worship except for Allah alone, having no partner, and I bear witness that Muhammad is a slave and messenger. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, O you who believe, fear Allah so you be feared, and die not except in the sake of Islam. That's the red color. Ya ayyuha an-nas, O you people, اتقوا ربكم, fear Allah, fear your Lord, the one who created you from one single soul. From him He created his wife, from them both He created many women and women, and fear Allah whom you man your mutual rights. Verily, Allah is all watch over you, all watcher over you. O you who believe, fear Allah and speak always the truth. He will direct you to do righteous deeds, and He will forgive your sins. And so Allah, but Allah and His Messenger has indeed achieved a great achievement. To proceed, very the best of talks is the book of Allah, and the best of guidance is the guidance of His Messenger Muhammad sallallahu, and very the most of evil of all matters are the ones who are innovated. For every innovated matter is an innovation, and every innovation is misguidance, and every misguidance in the hellfire. By the way, every Quranic verse is in the red. Allah says, "Kutiba alaykum." It has been written upon you that if when the death comes to you, to one of you, is that if he left something behind, that to make the will or the bequest for the parents and the aqrabin and the next of kin, bil ma'ruf, in kindness or in justice, haqqan al muttaqin, which is a true incumbent upon the pious. Now, this ayah was partially abrogated by the hadith, la wasiyyata li warith. There is no wasiyah request for the one who is an heir, an inheritor. And now here it says, this ayah says that you make a wasiyah to whom? Your parents, and your parents, father and mother, they are covered by the inheritance law. Do you understand me? So this ayah is being abrogated partially by the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Abdullah ibn Umar, he said, which is the hadith that we said before, ما حق امرئ مسلم له شيء, the right incumbent right upon every single Muslim that if he got something to bequeath, that he should not sleep 2 nights or more, except that his will is ready and written with him. This is, now this is what we'll see now, this is what the slave who's in need to Allah Azza wa Jal bequests. So you are going to put your name there in that dotted lines. So that's where this is what my bequest, so and so. It's your name. First, I testify that there is no God worthy of worship except for Allah alone. And I testify that Muhammad is a slave and his messenger. And I testify that the hour would come, there is no doubt about it, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would resurrect those who are from the graves. And also I prompt whom I left from my family to fear Allah and to rectify between them, I mean to reconcile any differences or any disputes, and to obey Allah and His Messenger if they're to be believers. And I also prompt them to what Allah's messengers Ibrahim alayhi salam had prompted, and also Yaqub had prompted, Ya bani, O children, O sons, inna Allah astafa lakum ad-din. Verily had Allah chose for you the deen, religion, فَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. Do not die except that when you are Muslims. Thirdly, I also prompt them to have good dhan. Good dhan means good opinion of Allah Azza wa Jal, and that to remember me if they can, and that is when I die. Because Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari, he said, I've heard the Prophet ﷺ saying before he died by 3 days, saying, لا يموتن أحدكم, should not a person die except that he has having a good opinion in Allah Azza wa Jal. Rawahu Muslim. Fourth thing, and I also prompt the one who are present while I'm dying, that is to give me the shahada. So while I'm dying, not dead, while I'm dying, to give me the shahada, to say to me, to remind me to say La ilaha illallah with gentleness and with kindness. Because the Prophet ﷺ, he said, whom his words, the last words, to be La ilaha illallah on his lips, he will enter paradise. Abu Dawood had narrated that, and Shaykh al-Albani to be authentic. Number 5, I also prompt all of you to be patient and to be satisfied with the decree of Allah Azza wa Jal, and to supplicate to me with good ending, because it's been mentioned or narrated from Salama that she said that the Prophet ﷺ said, if you to be present next to the person who is ill and is about to die, then say good things, for the angels, they will be saying Ameen upon what you are supplicating, on what you're saying. So she said, Salama, when Abu Salama, her husband, died, I came to the Prophet ﷺ, I said, Messenger of Allah, Abu Salama had died. So he said to me, say, Allahumma gfirli, Allahumma gfirli wa lahu, O Lord, forgive for me and for him, وَعَقُبْنِي مِنْهُ عَقْبَةً حَسَنًا, and give me after him a good end, a good remaining. So she said, فَقُلْت, O Lord, give me somebody better in exchange. So I said, who's going to be better than, Abu Salama? And Allah Azza wa Jalla had given me better than Abu Salama, and that is Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. She married the Prophet of Allah. Number 6, if my soul is to depart my body, then you should close my eyes and make supplication that Allah would forgive me. And I prompt you not to wail, and not to strike your cheeks, and not to tear the clothes. So that's the people, and they really get the clothes, tear the clothes and all of that. And also not to make supplication of the the Jahiliyyah, the pre-Islamic, which is haram wording, because the Prophet ﷺ, he said, he's not from us the one who struck the cheeks and tear off the clothes, and he called with the same call of the Jahiliyyah. Number 7, also I prompt you to wash me. The one who is to wash me is the one who is knowing about taqwa and iman. And I prompt him that if he wants to gain the good reward or the mighty reward, that he should hide or not, should not uncover or disclose something that that he doesn't like, he had seen from me. He sees something while he's washing, he should not disclose it. And he should seek with his deeds, with his action, with his whatever he's done, with his ghusl, the face of Allah. That means the reward, the pleasure of Allah. Abu Rafi', the Prophet, he said, قال من غسل مسلما, he who washes a Muslim, فكتم عليه, he had hidden upon him, he concealed what he had seen, غفر الله له 40 مرة, Allah will forgive him 40 times. ومن حفر له فأجنة, and he who digs for him, prepares the grave for him, and he puts him there, then it will be given to him as a dwelling or a house who had been rented, and all that rent goes for his sake, for his benefit, until the day of resurrection. And he who had given him the shroud, Allah will give him on the day of resurrection garment from sundus, which is something to do with the silk, وَاسْتَبْرَقِ الْجَنَّةِ, and that is from the Jannah. Number 8, and also I prompt you to make my shroud from the white color, and to scent it, or to make it, perfume. Because the Prophet ﷺ, he said, to put the white clothes of yours, for very it is the best of your clothes, and also use it as a shroud for your deceased. Number 9, I also prompt you to carry my janazah in order to pray upon me, then to follow me until I to be buried into the grave. For very this is one of my rights upon my brothers and upon my family. As the Prophet ﷺ, he said, the right of a Muslim upon a Muslim of 5. One of them is that to follow the funeral procession, the bear. Also, the Prophet ﷺ, called the bear or the bear? The bear, yeah. The bear, the funeral. Do you understand that language? Where is he's gone, Sallallahu. Bear, you know the bear? Bier. Bear. No. Help me, Ahmed. What is the bear? Funeral? What is it called? How you pronounce it?
I'm not actually sure myself, Sheikh.
Yeah, it's okay. Right, let me just. Okay. No. Right. So I remember the word. Hiya. Yeah, it's the nash, which is the coffin. Bear. Bear. It's the coffin, the casket, the bear. Yes. Yeah, that's the one. That's how it's called in English.
Beer.
Beer.
I've never heard of that in my life.
Beer.
B-I-E-R. Either. Okay, right. Never mind. I think Asim wants to translate it, bring it translated, inshallah, on a piece of paper. Jazakallah khairan. Inshallah, he'll do that for me. طيب. And also, he says here that haqq al-Muslims, right? And also the Prophet he said, he who witnesses the janazah until to be prayed upon, he will have qirat. And he who had witnessed it until to be buried, he will have 2 qirat. Messenger of what is 2 qirat? He said, like the 2 great mountains in terms of reward-wise. Number 10. And also prompt you to strive in increasing the number of monotheistic, righteous people to pray in my janazah, so that maybe I will gain with their intercession and with their dua the intercession which Allah Azza wa Jal permits. Because the Prophet ﷺ, he said, any Muslim who dies and then upon his janazah 40 people come to make the dua, they don't associate anything with Allah, they are monotheistic, Allah will accept their intercession. Number 11. I also prompt you not to follow my janazah not to be followed by a woman. If she insisted, then she could follow, but without wailing, without showing any awra, which is the thing that the woman is not supposed to show. Because Atiyah radiallahu anha, she said, we used to be told off not to follow the janaz. But if she insisted, okay, the Prophet she said, وَلَمْ يَعْزِمْ عَلَيْنِ. He did not really prohibit that much. He told us not to go, but if the sister, she wants to go because it's her father, her son, her brother, his close person, her husband, something like this, then we would say to her not to follow with the men, far away from the men, and to watch from far. No problem. Number 12. I also prompt you to bury me in the country which I die in, and not to take me to another country, because it is not allowed to take the person from one country to another for the sake of burial. This is, of course, if the country is a Muslim country. But if you died in a non-Muslim country and there is no place to be buried there, then you're allowed in that case to be transferred to an area where the Muslims cemetery. So let's say that in the area that you have died, there's no Muslim cemetery, which is very hard these days, very hard. But let's say you are in a country where there is not a single Muslim cemetery. You went to the Antarctica. Okay, you died there. There's nobody there. So no problem to take you to the Muslim country like in England. But for you to be dying in Saudi Arabia, in Mecca or Medina, and then you ask for yourself to be transferred to Maidenhead, that's bizarre, isn't it? It took place in High Wycombe. This wife of this person insisted for her husband to be shifted from Mecca to be better than High Wycombe. Unbelievable. Did it happen? It did happen. You asked him, he postponed to be better. I know the person. They don't fear Allah. How can a person to be buried in a Muslim country where there will be thousands, not to say millions of people, would pass by and ask for mercy, and to be buried in a place hardly if you find somebody going there? Can't believe it. What sort of mentality? But, you know, Allah al-Musta'an. May Allah guide these people. Right. Also, I prompt my family and my children with the last will of the Prophet ﷺ, which is as-salah, as-salah. Prayer, the prayer. Taqullaha fima malakat aymanukum. Fear Allah regarding what your right hand possesses in the slaves. And I prompt my family and my children to be patient and to settle and be pleased, settle, to accept the decree of Allah Azza wa Jal. Because Allah Azza wa Jal said, الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. The one who's been struck by a calamity, they would say, to Allah we belong and to Him we shall return. Those are the ones who will have the prayers from the Lord and the mercy. Those are the ones who are going to be guided. And I prompt you that if you are in dispute in regarding anything, then refer it back to the Quran and the Sunnah, to Allah and His Message. Number 14, I prompt my children especially that is to increase in doing the good deeds, for verily that would benefit me by the permission of Allah. Because the Prophet of Allah, he said, when the person dies, all his acts will cease to benefit him except for three. One of them, a child who calls Allah for him, supplicate to him. Number 15, I also prompt you not to get together for condolences in a specific place, and do not make food to other people, but it will be made for you. And I will not also ask you to make me those tents where they bring Qur'an to recite, the recitation. Okay, all of that, that's all of it from the bid'ah. Some people, they bring, special Qur'an and they pay them a lot of money to do that. And we have this in some of the countries like Egypt, plenty of this. Also, I prompt you to fulfill or settle my debt from my money before I being buried. I mean, straight away, before I'm buried, to go and settle my debt and to return each due right to each deserving person. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, the believer's persons is suspended with his debt, and it will not be accounted for until the debt is settled. So if I don't have the money, then I would hope that one of my relatives would, volunteer to donate what is being left on me from the debt. Because the Prophet ﷺ, he said that the shaheed, the martyr, will be forgiven for any sin except for the debt. Number 17, which is the last point, I ask all those people whom I have done wrong to them, whether sayings or actions, that is to forgive me, and that Allah Azza wa Jal will accept my repentance upon me and upon him, and to remember the saying of the Prophet Sallallahu Ar-Rahimun, the merciful, Yarhamuhum Ar-Rahman, the Rahman will be merciful to them, which is Allah the Almighty. Yarhamu man fil ard, yarhamukum man fis sama. Be merciful to the ones on the land, then the ones in the heavens will be merciful to you. And as for my money, I will request the following, that my money is to be given according to the following order. Number one, the expenses of my janazah, whether it is from the fees or the shrouds or the burial, is to be given according to the right manner without extravagance. Some people use it with thousands and granite they use, and God knows what they spend on the janazah. For the janazah, £10,000. Allahu musta'an. So to take the money, which is the expenses, but no extravagance. Number two, if there is any assets being pawned, then to release these assets. Like for example, I have a house, but it's been pawned by the government until such and some money to be paid. And the house worth much, much more than the money. To pay the money, release the house, the asset, and then from that house, you could pay back those people who had paid the money to release the assets. And alhamdulillah, I'm talking about myself now. I don't have until this. Okay, I don't have anything that is being pawned until the time I've written this will. I didn't put names anyway. To pay the zakah of my money if I've been paid it. So if the zakah is due, to be paid. And alhamdulillah, for my zakah of my money is to be given first by first. That means straight away. And also to settle the debts if it happens to be there. Alhamdulillah, there is nothing, as far as I remember, that is a debt on me until I've written this will. And also that my bequest is to be given to the following, with the conditions. Number one, that the total of what is being given in the bequest does not exceed quarter. That's what Abdullah ibn Abbas, he had given as a recommendation. Don't give a third, give a quarter. A quarter, which is from what remains from the will of mine after what is being spent. After you spend for the janazah and you spend for the assets and all of that, then whatever left, quarter of that to be going to the bequest. If the quarter if the quota is basically gonna be if the quota which is being mentioned is not really right or it's not enough, then there will be a deduction from each person from those who are being named in the following, and not the ones who are been mentioning, not to be one of the religious or the official heirs, because you're not allowed to give the official heirs. So my brother, my sister, I'm giving such and such dinar, and also general sadaqat to one who takes it, who deserves it from my family, from my tribe, and whatever is being left to be given to the heirs which are the due right heirs who are included in the laws of Allah Azza wa Jal. Who does wash me? One, the person's name and whoever he chooses to help him. Two, if he's not there, then another person, name, and if he chooses. Three, such and such person. Four, you could put as many persons you want to be washed. For example, yesterday, what's yesterday? No, 2 days ago, I paid a visit to someone who was 84 years old. Alhamdulillah, he's living, mashallah, but he's an uncle, we call him. And he had taken my phone number with his son-in-law. If in case, God forbid, that he dies, I'm going to be washing him. So I'm going to travel to that town and wash him. So he took my private phone number for the sake of that. And that he put it in the will. He put in the will, he took my phone number for the sake of that. And that's good, ya Ikhwani. And it's good person to think well advanced. Alhamdulillah. And then he says, whatever I'm happy for my deen and my dunya, I bear witness, or I make Allah to be a witness that I got nothing to do with any actions or saying which is opposite or contradicts the Quran and the Sunnah. And he who had been falling short not to fulfill this wasiyah, or he had changed it, or he had made something against the laws of Allah, okay, then upon him the sin, it's not upon me. Allah Azza wa Jalla said, فَمَنْ بَدَّلَهُ بَعْدَمَا سَمِعَ فَإِنَّمَا إِثْمُهُ عَلَى الَّذِينَ يُبَدِّلُونَهُ إِنَّ اللَّهَ سَمِيعٌ عَلِيمٌ. The one who had changed it after he had heard it, then his sin is upon the person who had changed it, and Allah is the all-hearing, the all-knowledgeable. At the end here, I'm putting the name and the address and also the signature, and then the time which has been written, this wasiyah, and after that, the first witness, his name and his signature, second witness, his name and his signature. And I had actually made the will, and I made those people who are in charge to know who are going to be washing me, and also who's going to be, who's the first witness and second. I have everything documented here, so you have your will ready, ya Ikhwani. You don't know when you're going to die. Don't say I'm healthy anymore. Allahu Alam. Okay, so write your will and make sure that it's being signed. By this, alhamdulillah, I think we come to the end of the will. We're coming up to just to finish the chapter, please.
When does the person receive what he was bequeathed? The one receiving a bequest is not entitled to it until after the bequeather has died and after his debts have been paid. If his debts consume all of his estates, nothing is to be given as a bequest. Ali radiallahu anhu.
So you can't give any bequest until you fulfill the first thing, which is first, the prioritization, priority. First, your expenses for the funeral. Secondly, the debts. And the debts are categories as well. So there's debts to settle the assets. There is debts of Allah. What's the debts of Allah? Which is to do with zakah, okay, for the poor people. This is a debt as well. And the debts of the people. 3 categories of the debt. All these have to be settled before we start with one, with the bequest. You can't give anybody. And the last people to receive after the bequest are the heirs. The children, the father and the mother, the wife and the husband. Those are the last to receive, which is the heirs, the inheritance law. But you have to give before that your funeral expenses. If somebody wants to donate that, something else, somebody said, I'm going to give everything from me, my pocket. But anyway, it goes directly from the money of the person, if there's nobody to donate. Secondly is to do the debts. So funeral expression, then the debts. The debts, following category. Debts, number one, the freeing the assets, because the assets money, it is being pawned. Secondly, also the debts of Allah to do with zakah. Or somebody made a vow and he died. He made a vow, let's say, to give £500 to such and such place. He vowed, another. And if he died, then the vow had to be fulfilled. £500 will be deducted. Third debt, which is the debt of the people. Such and such person, he had given him a loan, so and so. It's been to be settled. After that, then we'll come to the money. How much is left? We're left with 900. But he had given a bequest of 400. Would we give them 400? I'm asking. After we have taken the funeral expenses and the loans, okay, he had been left now with 900. But he made a bequest, a will, to give such and such and such a sum, which is an equivalence of that, all of that bequest of 400. Do we fulfill the bequest or not?
More than the third.
No, because the third is what? 300. So you're extra what? 100. How do we go about deducting from the people? That's another issue you want to learn. That's inshallah come to the board in a minute. Maybe not now. But this is here how, let's say for example, this person, he said, I'm going to give person A 100. Person B 100. Person C 100. Person D 100. That's 400, and his total estate is 900, which is the third how much? 300. We're left with extra what? 100. Can't give more than 300. So how do we go the deduction? Do we go take the D out because he's the last person?
Take 25 off from each.
Or take 25, he said, from each? Okay. Yeah, well, it could be this, we don't understand. Because there is something called wasiyah and there's something called atiyah. What is atiyah? See, now you learn something as well. You never heard of atiyah. Atiyah is a person is about to die. He knows he's dying. And he start giving money. You know, the person is about to die. The money is worth nothing for him. And he becomes very generous. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said, this is not the time to be generous. He's a stingy person. So he does not give to the sake of Allah until he's about to die. And then he starts saying, such and such and such and such, take money, such and such, take money. And already these people have been given by him, but he forgot. I just want to. Money in the will, as I said, is something, everything to do with the important things. I don't think somebody who's going to die is going to tell children, by the way, I'm about to die in such and such drawer. There are Snickers, they're about to be expired. Make sure you eat them. I don't think so. He's going to be talking about something important. True or not? Sah? Yeah, he's laughing. You like Snickers, don't you?
Nah.
Yeah, he's going to be not about, it's going to be something important. Nobody's going to talk about this expiry date and all of this. He's about to die. Right. So we're going to be talking about this, inshallah, next week. I want the doctor to encourage your community, our community, to come, because this is important for them to know. And put it maybe on the WhatsApp to say to them, or the group. We've been discussing the will. I'm pretty sure the 90% they don't know anything about these things. The will, the inheritance, and all of them. You need to understand it. Huh? Yeah. So we want to understand that now somebody's A, B, C, D, 100, 100, 100, 100. That's a good one. Sure. I will give as well, if we can bring some snacks after the class. What is it? You have to put the snacks before me. On the table there, they could see it. Oh, there's crisps. Oh, there is biscuits. There is and some tea. Very good to have tea. Yeah, chai. Chai wala. Yeah, put a chai there, some tea. People start, we want to make it a social, so the people come, subhanAllah, and really, people pay money for these such courses. Pay money for such courses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We have more people in the online than the people here. That's shame. That's shame. Allah. The people from outside, they go on the online more than the people on ground. Allah. Khair, inshallah. We will, I'm going to give you the PDF file, guys, inshallah. I'll give it to Ahmed, and Ahmed will distributed, but we'll give it to be, we'll make it in English very soon, inshallah. It's better. طيب, have this homework. A person whom his money is £900. I want you to give me the answer, inshallah. £900. And he made a bequest for A, B, C, D. Each one 100. And he mentioned them. A, such and such, second person. B, such and such. C, such and such. D, such and such. What do we do in this case when we know that the maximum we could give is 300? That's the first question. Second question, the same one, but he's giving them a atiyah, not wasiyah. That means he is dead, he's alive. And when he was given this and this. And then the money, he realizes it's going to be more than the third. So how the money would be distributed in this case, if it's a atiyah while he's alive? Start with the will when he's there. Because there's two possibilities of the answers. Is it you're going to take from the first one or from the last one? Or you're going to make a ratio decrease like he had done, 25 each? So that is for you to look into. Right. Any question, Ikhwani? I've got plenty from the online. Fadal.
First one is, what would be the advice to someone who inherits from their parents and they have left a mortgage on the property? Do they have to?
So a person.
Have to clear the debt?
I understand the question slowly. Then a person who is having a mortgage on a house. So let's say he had paid 50% of the house and 50% left, and it's the mortgage, which is haram, and he died. So the question is now,
what happens to the inheritance for the heirs?
for the heirs.
Or does it have to all go to try and clear the mortgage, to clear the debt? Because you said there's 3 levels of debt.
Yes. So the house now is in a mortgage. The house now is in a haram. It's the mortgage. They could, one of the two options they could make. Either they pay the remaining money, but not in a mortgage, but one go. Not in a mortgage where they're going to be paying APR every year, which is increase, or they sell the house which they own. That's 50% of that house. They sell it to the bank. Maybe the bank will take it, will repossess it, they say. And they give them the 50%, and they will share that 50%. But they continue to pay the mortgage? No. Yes, haram. One of the two options. Now, any other question, Ikhwani?
The co-wife question, Sheikh.
Co-wife question.
If you have one wife, it's straightforward. How does this co-wife inherit?
Co-wife inherit just like the wife. So in inheritance law, the wife takes either a quarter or 1/8, depending upon the deceased, if he's got children or no children. If he's got children, whether it's male or female, then she goes from 1/4 to 1/8. So if the 2 wives, still they share the 1/8. If the 3 wives, still they share 1/8. There are 4 wives, they still 1/8. Okay.
Potentially, the wives could take 1/8, could take 4/8.
The wife takes 1/8, but if there are 2 wives, he died, he left her, they share the 1/8.
This is 1/16 each.
Yeah, 1/16, of course.
Yeah, fine.
3 wives are going to be 1/48, 24, sorry. 4 wives, 1/32. Yeah. They're not going to have 1/8. They'll finish the inheritance. No. 1/8 each. Sorry, 1/8 would they share it.
Wife share.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, 1 wife or 4 wives.
So what about if you got 2 mothers?
What is it? One like
Stepmother.
stepmom and then one.
I just want to catch it. 2 wives, 2 mothers. There's no two such thing called 2 mothers.
Yeah,
One mother.
is the laws of the milk the same as the laws of the
No,
milk?
no. Milk. Remember, we said the milk, they are to do with prohibition of marrying, but nothing to do with the inherited. Nobody would give milk to somebody else if he's going to inherit.
Yeah.
No way.
Sister's question.
No, sister's question.
Can a child make a bequest?
That's a good question. This is the thing, that points I'm going to add to the. What are the conditions for the person, for the child to make a bequest? The bequest can be made by a person who is an adult. That's the bequest. Now, a child who is mumayyiz. Child who is mumayyiz, meaning he knows what he's saying, what he's doing. Say 7, 8 years old, 10 years old, 12 years old. He knows, and he's got rushd, prudence. He knows what he's doing. Then he could make a will. Okay, he could make a will, especially if it's to do with his, halal way of being burial and all of that. But other than that, the children was not distinguished. They can't make a will. So the person who's, so we're going to be inshallah talking about that bi'idhnillah. I've got plenty of, I will print you in English, all the laws regarding the will. I've got about 3 pages for that. Let's just see here. Disposable one's property during sickness, the ruling of the wills. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. Okay, right. Further.
What age do you have to be to write a will?
What are you?
What age do you have to be to write a will?
What age you have to be to write a will?
What age? From puberty?
Yeah, but the child to write a will about what he's not in debt, he hasn't got money, so yeah, he's going to be in the custody of his parents. Yeah, it's not compulsory upon him. Okay, he could write a will, but this is not going to be taken into consideration because he's underage. Yeah.
So
No.
over what age?
It's called the age of distinguishing. We don't have a specific age. He can distinguish now. That's the age we're talking about.
2 slightly different questions.
Now,
Can you repeat things in prayer if one wasn't concentrating when saying it the first time?
can somebody repeats what he had said if he did not sure that what he said is correct? That depends. If this person doing it frequently, no. He's following the waswasa. He will never finish a prayer. But this is one-off, yeah, no problem. But to keep repeating the Fatiha every time you finish the Fatiha, you think he didn't do the Fatiha, one day you're going to stop praying because of this. Don't follow these waswas. No.
If you're in the bathroom, do you say the post wudu dua after you have the toilet and say Qur'an, or
No.
before you say Qur'an?
No. When you step out, from the toilet, you step out with your right. Okay, and you say ghufranak. So when you are out, when you step out and you say ghufranak. When you come in, say Bismillah, and you step with your left in. Now.
Question is the post wudu dua.
Yeah, no problem to say the dua, ikhwani. And ikhwani, you think that you're not allowed to say any words which is to do with Islam or to do with the deen or Allah when you are in the toilet. You're only not allowed to mention that when you are doing it. You are on top of the actual toilet itself. But inside the room, we said that some of the rooms, mashallah, like a bedroom these days. The toilet is like a bedroom. And it's maybe some of the bathrooms of some people I've seen, it's like as big as my house. Just one for the bathroom itself. Yeah. I went to one of the bathrooms. He's got mirrors and he's got a sofa. Got a sofa. And the toilet is there and the shower is there. It's like I would say half of this masjid. What is this? You get lost here. There's such a bathroom. I don't feel comfortable. Well, some people, they take the toilets as another desk office for them. No.
This one I think is straightforward, but I think is good for the audience.
No.
In this country, you obviously have UK law when it comes to
You have nuclear war?
The UK law.
UK law in terms of the ownership of a home.
Okay.
The husband and the wife, usually the 2 of them are on the home. But the Islamic inheritance, obviously the wife gets an 1/8. What is the advice to the heirs around how they
So
handle this?
UK law regarding the houses, and let's say if you did not write a will, your money is going to be divided according to the laws of the land. And it's not going to be Islamically. But if you wrote a will, in that will you say, I want my money to be bequeathed according or inherited to the laws of Islam. And you put an executor for it. Executor means a person who's in charge of it. If he's not there, another person. And you write it with a solicitor. I've seen it written by solicitors. You write, this is what I want. You don't say, I want my son to have 50% and 30% according to the Islamic law, because you don't know who's going to be alive when you die. You could be all of you in a plane, God forbid, and all of you die. So where's the money's going to go now? To the government. Because nobody there is listed in that will. None of them is alive. So you say that I want it to be according, let's say, to the Shafi'i madhab law, for example, or Hanafi madhab law of inheritance, specifically, and you could make it to be quoted from such and such book. So when you die, they will go to that. Who's alive now? They will calculate. Very easy. They will calculate who deserves this and who doesn't. And you have to know as well to tell your wife that, she fears Allah Azza wa Jalla, that the money has to be divided according to what the Islam says.
Because majority of properties in the UK, the wife takes 100%. If the man goes first.
Yeah, but not with a will. If you made a will and she is to sign it as well. Okay.
By law, because there's two types of, I don't want to go into detail.
Yeah.
There's two types of ownership of a property. So the ones that I can discuss it with you.
Inshallah. But I know that there's somebody.
Because there's one type of ownership, the woman has 100% control, or even the man, vice versa.
Okay, the man. Okay. But you know your wife. The problem is when you have two wives. That's the problem. That's when they're going to be disputes. But once one wife, it's her children anyway. It's her children. She's not going to rob her children. So she's going to give them the right thing. So your wife, she has to be knowing that it's halal, and it's not halal for her to go and say that this child of mine, he is insolent, I'm not going to give him anything, and that one is really dutiful to me. It's not correct. So yeah, you've done your best. You've done your best. Well, you immigrate to a Muslim country. That's the whole thing. Now, I know that there are lots of, even the government is the biggest heir in they are the biggest heir. If your threshold, both the husband and the wife, is over, I don't know how much it is, 375,000 maybe. Yeah, 375. So if it's over combined, 5 combined, I think. 37. Any house you own these days is more than that money. Any house. So the whole total assets in the house, if it was over 375, 40% goes to the government. 40, that's the biggest share that you can be given. The biggest child you have is the country. The government.
Back on that, what's the ruling share on life insurance to pay for the inheritance?
Life insurance is not allowed. It's not allowed, life insurance. Anything to do with insurance, meaning it's a gamble. The person dies soon, he will get more money than what he paid. Yeah, more money than what he paid. Okay, and if he if he paid away from him, so it's a lottery basically. It's a lottery. Should not be giving life insurance. The insurer is Allah Azza wa Jalla. Don't you want to be like this person who had lent somebody 1,000 dinars? You know 1,000 dinars is what? Each dinar is about 4.25, 24 carats of gold. So you're talking about 4 kilos of gold, pure gold, is being given to this person. So he said to him, bring me a shaheed. That means witness. He said, Kafa billahi shahid. Allah is a witness. Bring me a wakil, a person who's like a guarantor. So Allah is the guarantor. Okay, he gave him the 1,000 dinar. So this person, he just wanted to go and work with this money and then come back, bring it back. So he went to the other side of the beach, other side of the sea or the river. And he did everything. And when the time of paying the debt back, he wanted a boat to go back just on the time which is appointed. He looked. There was no boat. This is Sahih Bukhari. There was no boat. But he saw a log, a massive log of tree. What he did, he opened it, and then he brought the money of which is 1,000 dinar. He put it inside in such a way that zajjaja has like something that would seal it not to be wet by the water. And he said, "Oh Lord, you were the witness and you were the guarantor, and you istawda'tuk Allah." And he left it. Allah Azza wa Jal made these waves of the sea and this river to take it all the way to the other side. And the other person came on the time, okay, to see where is his friend who's giving him the 1,000. He looked, there's no boats coming. But he saw a log. He said, "Oh, it's good going for me and break it there and make it wood for fire." So he took the log, got home and opened there, and he, mashallah, the money is there and a piece of paper saying, "This is such and such what happened to me," paper from his friend. So he's got the money. When that guy, he got the boat to come, he came and he went to his friend thinking he did not receive the money. He prepared another 1,000 dinar for him. Another 1,000 dinar. So he says to him, "Brother, I want to bring 1,000 dinar for you. This is the loan." He never mentioned him. I put for the log and all of this. He said, "Did you send money? Did you send money to somebody?" He said, "No." So, "Well, Allah Azza wa Jal had paid it for you. Khalas." Look at this, ya Ikhwani. That person could have lied. "I didn't find the 1,000 dinar." That person could have just said, "Well, Allah has sent it by the log. I can't give you another 1,000 dinar." Both of them, these two people, how they were pious. Pious. No insurance. No insurance. Alhamdulillah. Amazing. جزاك يا حماد. إخواني طيب, so we've got 4 minutes now. We shall stop here inshallah. Subhanakallah bihamdik. أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. I'm sorry about the ones who are online because we had questions from the on ground.